All right. 5 after, I know I didn't do a whole lot of preparation to drag folks here, but this is our inaugural meeting for the Jeffersonian Church. Hopefully in the future, it's more than just my wife and I joining. We actually are earnestly want to explore some words we found from a man from Nazareth, and it's been a little difficult to find folks who want to share those words with us as well. So with that, I will begin, and then we can post this recording for reference later. So welcome to the Jeffersonian Church. You can see we've got a website there, jeffersonianchurch.org, and also our Twitter handles and Facebook and, all the places that people go to find things nowadays. Why did we start a church? Well, because our forefathers need to be remembered for what they wrote down, not what some wished they had. So we'll start off with a quote from Mr. Jefferson himself. Religious institutions that use government power in support of themselves and force their views on persons of other faiths or of no faith undermine all of our civil rights. Moreover, state support of an established religion tends to make the clergy unresponsive to their own people and leads to corruption within religion itself. Erecting the wall of separation between church and state, therefore, is absolutely essential in a free society. And history has shown us this throughout time. That's why these men wrote these things down in our Constitution. Mr. Jefferson also said, if I could not go to heaven but with a party, I would not go there at all. And I agree with him wholeheartedly. So, short history lesson for those who are a little confused about the Jefferson references, aside from the stance the man took on church and state that actually made it into our Constitution. We've had these problems before as a country, where one or more churches decide they're, gonna go put some words in that text for the rest of us. So in the early 1900s, they started handing out a copy of the Jefferson Bible to each member of Congress when they became a member. And they were also given a reminder why they were being given that book. And this Bible, this Jefferson Bible that I am holding here, you can buy them yourself. I'm not going to sell them, but you can find them if you need to get links. Let me know. It's not just the New Testament. It is actually his handmade creation, where he took the stories of the man from Nazareth and the morals and teachings from that man and put just that in the book. And so there's nothing else, what he used to call the trappings and vestments of power. So no old book, no revelation, just these words. And so the reason this was given to the new members of Congress was to remind the devout and the pious that which they seek often doesn't align with the teachings of the man, but rather the desires of other forces. It's too easy to pervert the teachings of this man with lots of suppositions from the old book, and therefore Revelation says we must do horrible things. And so this was a reminder to those representatives that they in fact should always come back to the morals of this man if they're going to bring Christian thoughts and ideas into the people's temple. No one is offended by someone bringing their faith with them into the people's temple. People become offended when other people's faith is forced upon them. So when the moral majority struck out to bring about a Christian United States, I don't know if you guys know what that means, but just go look up what I have in quotes there. The first thing that had to go was the Jefferson Bible. So in the mid-50s, they said, yep, no, we're not giving them a Jefferson Bible anymore. We're not going to give them that reminder. And they've been working on it ever since. So who we are a non-dogmatic enlightenment seekers organization. So we're inspired by the Jeffersonian approach to religion. If you want to read about that, there's a lot in this book about what he thought about it. Some people will say, well, he wasn't a religious man, and you know, directly his words were, "Let no man speak of my religion. Let me be." Yeah. So we want to explore our faith and commune with others so that we can all be dutiful to society. We believe we should be measured by our good words, our good deeds, and our dutifulness to society. And if all those can be considered good, the religion that governed it cannot be a bad one. We also seek to raise awareness of churches that respect the separation of church and state so that others may find comfort in a church that does not tell people who God wants them to vote for. We have no hats, no pins, no buttons, no flags, no banners, no idolatry. We are the church of zero idolatry. I want to be able to look out among the unwashed masses and know that I am one of them. And I think we all seek the same thing. Our services, we're going to hold a simple service each week. It's not intended to replace your existing church. If you like yours, you could think of this as an augmentation of your exploration. You know, I think initially we'll be focused on this book right here and the teachings of the words of the man from Nazareth, but you know, definitely open to other folks bringing topics and exploring other aspects. So no expectation of donations ever. We're not ever going to come into one of these church meetings and tell you guys we need to raise money for something. That's not what we're here for. I'm not selling Bibles. You can listen to me or you can not. We're starting off by reading the Jefferson Bible together. We're going to kind of do one parable a week and then have a group discussion of the parable, what it means to us, any questions we have as a group. Maybe we can gain enlightenment from each other. So that's basically what we're looking to do here. We will be also building directory services. So we're going to build a directory of churches that will be willing to take our pledge and confirm our belief that, you know, separation of church and state is important to allow us all to practice our faiths. And that's it. That's all. That's all they have to do. If they want to do that, we'll gladly list them in our church directory. If they want, that's okay. Then they won't be in the directory. That's it. You know, we're not going to fight those that are seeking this, but we can show them by their noticeable absence in our directory. And if others would like to find a church that's not going to tell them who to vote for, or else they go to a bad, fiery place, then this directory would be there for those folks to find that sort of a church. So. At this point, I am going to stop sharing, but I am going to flip my video on for just a minute so that we can talk. All right. So, like I said before, I've got a couple of these different versions of these Bibles that I picked up. I think we have a third different kind. There's different prices. So if anybody wants to get one, I got links to them on Amazon. I don't even make any money on referrals. It's just there for your convenience. So go to the website. This one's the cheapest one. It's about, I don't know, $3 or something like that. I think this one was $5 or $6. Now this one was, you know, 18 or 20 bucks, but it's the Smithsonian edition. And this one's actually really enlightening. And I found a lot of interesting things in this one, as opposed to just reading these books, which are more just translations of the English that's in here. Because the original book that Jefferson has, when you go back into that, you find little notations along the side where he actually wrote kind of his thoughts about things in some various aspects in different ways. And then when you go read those annotations and notations, you'll find some very interesting things. And one that I talked to my wife about just the other day, we were talking about one of these passages, and it came to light that we were talking about eunuchs, I think we were. And in English, the word eunuch actually means something kind of specific, right? I'm not going to go into that. But if you follow Jefferson's notes and then you follow it back through these translations, because it's got all four languages from Greek to Latin, and then to French, and then to English. So if you follow that back, you can see that earlier in the Greek and the Latin, the word that it actually was coming from didn't mean necessarily the unique word that we use in English, but it had a wider meaning. And so there's little things like that you'll find as those translations have been made throughout the years that can kind of change the meaning of some of these things. And so that was very enlightening to me. And so while, not everybody's going to want to go grab one of these, there is some value in it. And then seeing those old versions of each one of the texts laid side by side is actually pretty enlightening. So why the heck, a lot of people who knew me before, they would say, that's the most non-Christian guy I've ever met. Now, I mean, maybe that's being, I've always tried to live up to those ideals, but, haven't been a strict religious person. But I was actually very much struggling with a lot that was going on in the world and problems that were being created by people that I respected, right? I mean, people that I've known and worked with for years that were now kind of drifting away and doing some things that, wow, what's going on? And so I looked to find a way to be able to communicate with them, because I would communicate my, concerns, my issues that they would, that maybe we should discuss, and let's try, I can't find anything in what Jesus said that makes me believe that. So how do we get there? Help me understand. And so I really looked at this Jefferson Bible as a way for me to kind of understand what Jefferson, his thoughts on it were, and how he approached it in his time, because he actually fought this same problem. And that was my original intent, was just to see what he thought about it, why he created this book. But then as I read these words of the man in here, it really changed what I had thought that Christianity was, what I had been exposed to my entire life, was very much different than what's in this book if you just read it without having all of the rest of it wrapped around it. So, I sought to kind of explore that myself, and hence why we started this church. So enough about me, but that's really the motivation behind this. That's it. That's all the motivation that's behind this. And it's a way for me to maybe find others that also see, could find some inspiration in this as well. And so I thought about maybe just starting at the very first of the Jefferson Bible, and then just working forward from there. But since it's just me and my wife this week, I'm going to jump over and I'm going to actually do the Sermon on the Mount. So, everybody knows the Sermon on the Mount from their Christian upbringing or exposure to Vacation Bible School or what that meant. But, let's look at it from a pure perspective and just see what the man said. And then maybe we can think about what that meant. So the Sermon on the Mount. And seeing the multitudes, he went up into a mountain. And when he was set, his disciples came unto him. And he opened his mouth and taught them, saying, Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. Blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are ye when men shall revile you and persecute you, and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely for my sake. So even when they come persecute you, you're still blessed. Rejoice and be exceeding glad, for great is your reward in heaven, for so persecuted they the prophets which were before you. But woe unto you that are rich, for ye have received your consolation. Woe unto you, and that one just really always gets me, that whole prosperity doctrine that gets pitched nowadays. I can't find any of that in this book, so that was very enlightening as well. Woe unto you that are full, for ye shall hunger. Woe unto you that laugh now, for ye shall mourn and weep. Woe unto you when all men shall speak well of you, for so did their fathers to the false prophets. So if everybody's speaking good things about you, are you really that good? Ye are the salt of the earth, but if the salt has lost his savor, wherewith shall it be salted? It is thenceforth good for nothing, but to be cast out and to be trodden under foot of men. I have so many questions about this one. I'd love to talk to some people that have thought about this one a while. Ye are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid. So take it out there. Neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick, and it giveth light unto all that are in the house. And I just have to tell my wife that I'm not hiding my light under a bushel basket anymore. All right, let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. So see your good works, not what you tell them to do. All right, think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill. So he's telling you right there, he's not coming to destroy the law, change how we do things as a society. For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law, till all be fulfilled. See that? Right there. He says, don't do that. That's very interesting to me. All right, so whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments and shall teach men so, he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. But whosoever shall do and teach them, the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. So I'm going to go out and teach them these words. So that's kind of what I'm feeling like he's saying that you should do. The rest of that sounds like the first half of that. So anyway, that's just my thoughts. I'm interested in what other people have to say. For I say unto you that except your righteousness shall exceed the righteousness of the scribes and the Pharisees, ye shall in no case enter into the kingdom of heaven. Wow, he's kind of reinforcing what we said before, which is interesting that he said it twice. Ye have heard that it was said by them of old time, thou shalt not kill, and whoever shall kill shall be in danger of the judgment. And there's no asterisk there. But I say unto you that whosoever is angry with his brother without a cause shall be in danger of the judgment. So you don't even have to lash out. You just being angry without cause will cause it. Sorry, babe. And whosoever shall say to his brother, Raka, shall be in danger of the council. I'd have to go look up what Raka means. Yeah. But whosoever shall say, thou fool, shall be in danger of hellfire. So we probably shouldn't be calling people foolish. We probably shouldn't be calling people names. This kind of rules out like all those ad hominem attacks on Facebook. Interesting. Therefore, if thou bring thy gift to the altar, and there rememberest that thy brother hath aught against thee. Sometimes these things are a little hard to get through, and I'm pretty good at reading these old words. I think my wife liked it a lot better when we were reading the passages in the new translations of the book. And so maybe if that's what people prefer, we can do that in the future. But I've just been real inspired by this Jefferson Bible, so I'm going to keep reading from it. And the Sermon on the Mount's a long one, but I figured since there's nobody else joining, I can just record what I think, and we'll stop when it's time to go. Wow, this thing's a lot longer than I thought. All right. Leave there thy gift before the altar, and go thy way. First be reconciled to thy brother, and then come and offer thy gift. So they're saying don't put going what you got to do at church in front of taking care of the things you need to take care of in your life, and taking care of your brother and taking care of your family. Agree with thine adversary quickly, whilst thou art in the way with him, lest at any time the adversary deliver thee to the judge, and the judge deliver thee to the officer, and thou be cast into prison. Verily I say unto thee, thou shalt by no means come out thence, until thou hast paid the uttermost farthing. So these two I found interesting as well. So basically he's saying, work this out amongst yourselves before you got to bring the law in. I mean, that's what I got out of it. So I thought that was interesting. So don't just go running and calling the law on people, right? It's something that offends you or morally, or somebody needs some help, or somebody's doing something, don't just go calling the law on them and running off. I mean, you should go help that person and figure out what that does before calling people in on you. So, ye have heard that it was said by them of old time, thou shalt not commit adultery. I mean, that one was in the old book, most definitely. But I say unto you that whosoever looketh on a woman to lust after her hath committed adultery with her already in his heart. Wow, there's a lot to that. So I'm just going to leave that one there. And if thy right eye offend thee, pluck it out and cast it from thee. For it is profitable for thee that one of thy members should perish, and not that the whole body should be cast into hell. And this one's super interesting as well. I mean, I get what he's saying on the physical thing, like, if you can't stop looking at that, then pull your eyes out, because otherwise you're just going to hell. But thinking about that figuratively, a lot of ways in society, this is interesting, and so I think this is worth a discussion in and of itself. I mean, even if that guy is the guy that you think might need to be there, if he's not of a certain moral quality, you should take him out, even if your team's not going to, maybe win this next round, because in the long run, you're going to be better off. But that's what I get out of it. So super interested to hear what other people think. And if thy right hand offend thee, cut it off and cast it from thee. For if it is profitable for thee that one of thy members should perish, and not the whole body should be cast into hell. I think I already read that one. Sorry, I'll keep going. It hath been said, whosoever shall put away his wife, let him give her a writing of divorcement. But I say unto you that whosoever shall put away his wife, saving for the cause of fornication, causeth her to commit adultery. And whosoever shall marry her that is divorced committeth adultery. So obviously this, our society's kind of definitely moved away from this, but, there is forgiveness. So later in here, he talks about those things, but obviously it's not just a, hey, I said I'm sorry, I'm going to go do it again. There's a process to it, but this one cost me a lot of thought as well. So, again, ye have heard that it hath been said by them of old time, thou shalt not forswear thyself, but shalt perform unto the Lord thine oaths. But I say unto you, swear not at all, neither by heaven, for it is God's throne, nor by the earth, for it is his footstool, neither by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great King. Neither shalt thou swear by thy head, because thou canst not make one hair white or black. You can't change anything about it by swearing about it, right? But let your communication be yea, yea, nay, nay, for whatsoever is more than these cometh of evil. Ye have heard that it has been said, an oil eye for an eye, and a tooth for a tooth. But I say unto you that ye resist not evil, but whosoever shall smite thee on thy right cheek, I say, turn to him the other also. So turn the other cheek. Yeah, they were mean to you first, but hey, that don't mean you got to immediately go get them. You're supposed to turn the other cheek. And if any man will sue thee at the law and take away thy coat, let him have thy cloak also. So you're not going to go do immoral things to this guy just because he's suing you and costing you some money. Whosoever shall compel thee to go a mile, go with him twain. So if he's going to force you to go somewhere, then you're going to go. I mean, that's what you're going to do. That's what he's saying. Force, compel. Right? Give to him that asketh thee, and from him that would borrow of thee, turn not thou away. And I tell you, this is one right here that I would say I grew up in an area where, around here, Oklahoma, there was a much different mindset of that in the general public, as far as how to treat people out in public like that. And so recently, I have very much changed. And my wife was always that way. We'd pull up to a stoplight, stop sign, some guy standing there, looks like he really needs something. My wife is giving him something. And I used to say to her, I'm like, man, you know, how much money do they make standing out there, blah, 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 blah. Well, you know, it don't matter. It don't matter. I mean, the guy needs it. You give it to him, and that's what you're supposed to do. That's what this guy's saying. And then if he takes it and goes and buys alcohol with it, that's on him. That's not on you. That's on him. And maybe someday he'll figure out that's not the way to do it. But you can't use that as an excuse not to help these people, because a lot of these people are just not getting helped. And you drive around these streets today and go, look, these people are not getting helped. The churchiest place I've ever, claims to be in my life, everywhere I've ever been, we got just as many people here that are not getting help. So ye have heard that it hath been said, thou shalt love thy neighbor and hate thine enemy. But I say unto you, love your enemies. Bless them that curse you. Do good to them that hate you, and pray for them which despitefully use you and persecute you. And boy, this one was tough. This one was really tough for me. But as my new perspective has developed after reading these words and thinking about some things, and this one's super important. And it's really easy to turn hateful to somebody that you see as your enemy. And I was even doing that to people that I grew up respecting, because I saw how they were on Facebook. I saw the kind of things they were doing politically, and I started feeling those feelings. But now, after I've kind of researched it a little bit more and I understand what was being done to them, I have a lot more empathy for them. And they still are good people. They're just, in the middle of something, right? So that was really eye-opening to me, that I just need to try to make sure I have empathy on these people. I mean, these people are my enemy for what reason, right? They may have very good reasons in their head why they're doing what they're doing. And if you don't understand that, then you're never going to do anything to actually make that productive. So that one really helped me a lot. And I'm not going to go too much longer. I mean, it's 7:32. I don't know. I'll probably go to 7:45 or so. Does that sound good, Dave? Okay. I'm looking at her on my little screen over here. So, all right. Where am I going? Here we go. All right. That ye may be the children of your Father, which is in heaven, for he maketh his sun to rise on the evil and on the good, and sendeth rain on the just and on the unjust. For if ye love them which love you, what reward have ye? Do not even the publicans the same? Right? So it's not all just about loving each other, even just your family, right? It's got to be more than that, because he's just saying everybody loves their family. Everybody's like that. If that's all this was, this wouldn't be any different than them. And if ye salute your brethren only, what do ye more than others? Do not even the publicans so? Yeah. So again, not just your family, but just your tribe, just your kin, just your brethren. And that's the only people that you're no different than they are. So these rules can't apply just to your church or just to your group. It has to be for everybody that's around. Not everybody who will bend a knee to what you say your God is. He's not saying that anywhere in here. And if ye lend to them of whom ye hope to receive, what thank have ye? For sinners also lend to sinners to receive as much again. And this one was also one that came into my life recently, and I don't know why, but all these things seem to have come into my life recently in ways that made me question how I have been as a person before now. And this is another one of those. I mean, if you're going to lend somebody money, don't be expecting to get the money back. You lend it because those people need help. And, if they do, fine, maybe someday they'll pay it forward. But holding anger over that is definitely not good for anybody. But love ye your enemies, and do good, and lend, hoping for nothing again, and your reward shall be great, and ye shall be the children of the highest. For he is kind unto the unthankful and to the evil. Be ye therefore merciful, as your Father also is merciful. So have mercy on people. You can't just be a tyrant. I was like that when I was younger, towards a lot of things. And I'm going to try to be better as I get older. Take heed that you do not your alms before men to be seen of them, otherwise ye have no reward of your Father which is in heaven. So don't do these things just to have recognition of men. That's never worth doing anything for just that. Therefore, when thou dost thine alms, do not sound a trumpet before thee, as the hypocrites do in the synagogues and in the streets, that they may have glory of men. Verily I say unto you, they have their reward. So all these people that are going out there to the church and being the pious and, out on the street corner and doing all that, yeah, they may be trying to get the word out. And if that's the only motivation they have for doing it, then good on them. But if they're doing it for other motivations, they're no longer doing what they're supposed to be doing. And that breeds corruption in men. So he's saying that right there. Hypocrites. He doesn't use that word lightly. But when thou dost alms, let not thy left hand know what thy right hand doeth. So doest alms is really doing these good things, doing these things you're supposed to do, right? The things he's telling us we're supposed to do. And so he's just saying, you're not doing it so that somebody else knows. You're not, you're supposed to just do these things and not expect anybody else to know or know about it or worry about that. You just do these things because that's what we're supposed to do. That thine alms may be in secret, and thy Father which seeth in secret himself shall reward thee openly. So you got to go to the church and write on the board the good things you did that week. He's nowhere saying you got to do that. As a matter of fact, he's saying, keep it secret. Don't do that. Just make the world a better place, huh? If we all did that, wouldn't the world be a nice place? And when thou prayest, thou shalt not be as the hypocrites are, for they love to pray standing in the synagogues and in the corners of the streets, that they may be seen of men. Verily I say unto you, they have their reward. So the reward that those people get is that. That's all they get. That's it. Doesn't look very rewarding to me unless you're Oral Roberts or Tilton or one of those 5 other dudes that are just raking it in. But thou, when thou prayest, enter into thy closet, and when thou hast shut thy door, pray to thy Father which is in secret, and thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly. So he's saying when you pray, go do it in your closet. Don't go down to the temple and do it with everybody in lines with the same chants and all that kind of stuff. But when ye pray, use not vain repetitions. Ooh, here we go. So he's reinforcing what I just said. As the heathen do, for they think that they shall be heard for their much speaking. So it ain't about what you're saying. It ain't about the tongues, any of that business. Be not ye therefore like unto them, for your Father knoweth what things ye have need of before ye ask him. Yeah. And this one I used to just think was nothing. And now I see that things have been laid before me that I needed, that I didn't even know I needed. So, after this manner, therefore pray ye, our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen. Now, everybody has heard this their whole life. I've heard this my whole life. And I read this different now than I've heard it my whole life. And I used to think that it was talking about, God's will being done in the kingdom on earth and some almighty thing, right, that was being prayed to. And I don't see that in here at all anymore. What I see in here is he's saying, if you do all these things that I'm teaching you, that you will bring about that heaven on earth, that kingdom on earth, right? And that if you right here, thy will be done in earth. I'm going to do the things that this guy's telling me to do right here on earth. And maybe I'm blind to it. Maybe I should have seen that earlier. Maybe I was the one who was broken earlier in my life, but I never, ever read it that way up until 2 months ago. So anyway. For if ye forgive men their trespasses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. But if ye forgive not men their trespasses, neither will your Father forgive your trespasses. So even if you seek forgiveness, yeah, you got to be forgiving others for it to work out. Moreover, when ye fast, be not as the hypocrites of a sad countenance, for they disfigure their faces, that they may appear unto men to fast. Verily I say unto you, they have their reward. So don't be doing that just to get looks from other people. You do that because that's what you want to do, and you don't go out there and try to make pain faces. But thou, when thou fastest, anoint thine head and wash thy face, that thou appear not unto men to fast, but unto thy Father, which is in secret, and thy Father, which seeth in secret, shall reward thee openly. So again, you're not going to go get together with all your group of people at church and say, we're going to fast every Friday, and this is a thing we're going to do. Not at all what he's saying, right? Lay not up for yourselves treasures upon earth, where moth and rust doth corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust doth corrupt, and where thieves do not break in through nor steal. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. And I was guilty of this. I mean, hey, it's the American way. We got to go earn as much money as we can. We got to make as much money as we can. And, I'm telling you, that's a never-ending flywheel. Just never ends. And then you get it and you're like, okay, that one was great as I thought. So, I'm trying to be better about these things and make sure that I'm doing better for people. So the light of the body is the eye. If therefore thine eye can be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. But if thine eye be evil, thy whole body shall be full of darkness. If therefore the light that is in thee be darkness, how great is that darkness? Yeah. No man can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. Ye cannot serve God and mammon. And mammon's an old word, but if you think about what he means here, and he means kind of status quo, law, ingrained state, man, as we knew it in the old book, he's saying right here, if you are trying to serve both of those things, you're not going to do either. And so, that right there just leads me to a very Jeffersonian viewpoint on how we should force religion. Anyway, therefore I say unto you, take no thought for your life, what ye shall eat or what ye shall drink, nor yet for your body, what ye shall put on. Is not the life more than meat, and the body more than raiment? Now this one I struggle with still to this day, but I kind of get the idea that what he's trying to, if we all live the way he said, this would be true. But if you go live this first, are you going to be taken care of? He's basically saying you're supposed to just do that. And I guess maybe that forces society to take care of those people that don't do that. I don't know. I've really struggled with this one, and it's kind of a paradox. So I'd like to talk to somebody who's thought about that one a little bit more. All right, there's a ton of this one left. I of course picked the longest one, so I'll tell you what, because I'm not going to make it to the end of the hour, I'm going to stop right there. This was a little cathartic for me, and I feel like I'm talking to the choir, so I'm going to go ahead and stop right there. I put my bookmark in it. I'm happy to pick this back up next week if that's what folks want to do, or if anybody else joins. If nobody else joins, I'll read the second half of the Sermon on the Mount. So with that, I don't think my wife has any questions, and she's the only other one here. So I'm going to just go ahead and end the recording, and hopefully we'll start to see some more folks show up. And if not, we'll just keep doing what we can to bring about awareness and enlightenment and do good deeds and be dutiful to society. So with that, I will talk to you guys later.